Hello, GenRight Nation. I'm Tony Pellegrino, and this is Tech Talk. Tech Talk is something that we do every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And obviously today, I've got a couple of guests with me. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Ben Anderson, light truck product manager for Mickey Thompson Tires.
And
Jordan Pellegrino, son of Tony Pellegrino and driver of the number 98 Ultra 4 car.
Equipped with
Mickey Thompson, Baja Boss.
there you
yes.
go, there you go. All right, as always, you guys are welcome to type in a comment, ask it as a question, and Jennings will read those back to us. So feel free. Yeah, obviously, you know, I usually open questions to any kind of a Jeep question, but today, if we could keep them related to tires and Mickey Thompson, that'd be awesome. But we'll see what we can do to get to everybody's question. Let's see, I want to remind everybody to like or subscribe so that you get the notifications when we do go live and not miss any Tech Talks. If you do miss a Tech Talk, you can always go back to our YouTube channel and re-watch them not live and at least see what was going on and what we talked about. But today's show is all about Mickey Thompson, and we've got a ton of stuff to tell you guys, share with you. It's great to have Ben here. He's all the way from Ohio, came out just for this show, and real treat to have somebody like this here to answer your questions. So please chime in. Jennings, who we got watching so far?
The questions are already rolling in.
Nice.
Let's see.
So it
Troy
starts.
Merritt says hello, Tony Jennings and the GenRight Nation.
Nice.
Hugo Ruiz is watching. Ari asked when will Baja Boss Mickey Thompson 42-inch sticky.
That didn't take long.
42-inch stick. Who said anything about 42-inch stickers? I don't know what anybody's talking about.
Let's see. Dwayne White has a question. He says, I'll get my question in first. Mickey Thompson, will there be a Baja Boss AT LT 35 11.5 by 17 C load?
Is that even on
Very
your radar?
particular.
Top secret.
Tops
On the radar.
on
yes.
the radar. Okay, that's good.
Yes.
All right.
That's good.
So
That's what I tell people. If it's on my radar, that's a good thing.
That's an excellent size. Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Walker says, hi gang. Craig Colbert says hello. Mike Mower's watching. Nana GenRight is watching.
All
Says,
right.
hey guys.
Anna.
Steve and Tammy Bird are watching. Alex Israel says, hey guys. Richard Jedlowski says, hi Tony and the GenRight crew.
Nice.
Mark Lawrence says, hello GenRight. Danielle Partita says, what's up GenRight? Two Feather Channel. Joseph Strauss, what's up Tony? Rick Turner says, hey Rick from Arkansas, ready for school. Stephen Waterman has a question. How much do the 42s weigh compared to 40s? I did not see much change when I went to 42s.
We'll have to get back on that one. Actually, so I don't think I have that information in front of me. We should have it published on MickeyThompsonTires.com, the weights for the 42s and the new 44. And if for some reason the weights aren't on there, please contact our tech department Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, either via email or phone. They'd be happy to tell you the weights on those things.
Okay, and we've got Jerry DeRimple, Jeremy Scott, Kathy McCavis, Santa Cruz Overlander, Matt McDonough, Derek Mueller.
These names are from all over the country, so
Right on.
we've got people watching from everywhere.
Baby Tom, Gringo 392, hi Ed, Esteban Gonzalez says hello GenRight, and then we've got all of our other Facebook friends still jumping on. Esther Parrott Newcomb is watching, Doug Frost says hello from Tombstone, Arizona,
Yeah.
Jessica Nemechek is watching, Esther Parrott Newcomb says hello from Virginia Beach,
There you go.
Gary Edgar is watching, Adam Halfley says hello GenRight from Pennsylvania.
We might be rivaling the presidential debate.
Yeah.
Deborah
Right.
Cornell says hello all, and Mike Stewart says hey Mickey Thompson, the GenRight crew,
All right.
What's up?
Nice.
and lots more people still joining in and piping up saying
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, so before the questions roll in the rest of the way, Ben's actually got a few slides that we're going to show you right over on the other TV.
Yep.
And he's going to tell you about the product line in case you don't know about the whole product line and give you a chance to ask some more questions.
Yeah. So I'll kind of take you through the product portfolio that I'm responsible for at Mickey Thompson. Obviously, we have our street and strip products, but then we also have light truck and off-road. So the what we call the core four internally on the left, we have 2 all-terrain hybrids as well as 2 premium mud terrains, and then of course our extreme terrains on the right. So just talking about the all-terrain hybrids, give you a little history on those, the tires on the left. So back in 2005, we released the Baja ATZ, right? So that was like our entry into the, what I guess you could call the all-terrain hybrid, or a lot of people call it the RT market today, right? And it truly is a hybrid between a traditional mud terrain and a traditional Mickey Thompson 5-rib all-terrain, right? The tread element count going around the circumference of the tire, the tread to void ratio, it truly falls in between the two, right? So it's going to give you a lot of the, not the best of both worlds, but it's going to give you a really nice blend of performance between traditional all-terrain and a mud terrain. It does a lot of what both types of tires can do. So starting with the Baja Legend EXP, so compared to our old Baja ATZ P3, it has the same tread depths, it has the same tread to void ratio, tread element count, so it's going to be very similar to that tire. It does have a next generation high tensile body ply on it, so it is lighter weight, but that does not sacrifice load carrying capacity, okay? So it's going to provide a ride more similar to a typical OE replacement type product. So if somebody's going from like a stock tire or an OE replacement tire to this tire, certainly they're going to get a more avoidy tire, something that looks more aggressive, a little more capable on the trails, but it's going to provide a very familiar ride. It's not going to weigh a whole lot. So great tire, more traditional from a styling perspective, symmetric pattern. Raised white letters on about 60% of the sizes for the people that dig those, and the sizing in the lineup's a little more traditional Mickey Thompson, a little more traditional consumer enthusiast. Going to the Baja Boss AT, that's a different direction with all-terrain hybrids. Still premium in its own right, but it's got 150% deeper side biters compared to the EXP, so more traction off-road, certainly a more aggressive look, a little more protection in that area of the tire. You can see that it does have quite a bit more siping. That coupled with the compound and the tread pattern arrangement makes this thing a beast in all weather conditions. In fact, size is 1250 an hour, R3 Peak Mountain Snowflake certified. So like I said, thing is awesome in the winter time. Does have PowerPly XD construction, so the same competition proven construction the Baja Boss MT has. Get more into that here in a bit. And then the sizing is a little bit more extreme with that product line as well. So moving over to the mud terrains, we have the Baja Boss MT and then the Baja Legend MTZ. Kind of a similar story here, where the Legend MTZ is a little more traditional from a styling perspective, symmetric pattern. It's a pattern that we have tweaked through the years. We've optimized it to make it a little more quieter, make it wear a little better. But it is, I mean, it's a classic Mickey Thompson pattern. About 50% of the sizes do have the raised white letters, so again, a little more classic appearance. Something you don't see a whole lot today in mud terrain. So if somebody wants that look, you know, a legitimate brand on the sidewall, then it's a great tire for them. Does have the silica reinforced tread compound, so great wet handling, wet braking, good tread life for a mud terrain, very durable as well.
We have
And
a
then,
comment.
uh-oh,
BB Tom says, I love how Mickey Thompsons are true to size. My LJ came with 35s that were actually 33.5.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, true to size is that's another one of those things
You
that
and I
like
have talked about that.
you trying to do
Yeah.
my job just sitting behind a computer, you're not going to pick up on that kind of thing. You got to get out and talk to people, and that's something we're definitely considering for the future too. Is even getting us. Basically, there are bodies that set the standards for parameters of how tall a tire can be, how short it can be, wide it can be, to be called that size. So you do have a range you can go from, but it is very important to enthusiasts that tires are true to size. And just so you know, load range C, D, E, and F, when the diameters of the tires are checked as well as the section width, that is on the measuring rim. So if you see the rims in our catalog or on our website, you see 3 rim sizes. It's the first size that's in parentheses. So it's on that wheel. It's at max inflation pressure off the vehicle, and we check it down the center line of the tire, and that is the OD that we publish in the catalog.
Interesting. Huh.
So yeah, so if you don't have it at max pressure, you don't have it on the same size wheel, you have it sitting on the ground with, you know, thousands of pounds on it, it's not going to be what it says in the catalog. So just something to keep in mind when you're checking specs.
Oh.
We got a question for Tony.
Sure.
2021 JLU 4-inch lift 73.5 width axles from Built to Crawl says,
That's wide.
how much cutting is required on the JL to run the 42-inch Baja Bosses?
That wide, I mean, even if he ran a 6-inch backspace wheel, it's not going to be much. Those tires are clearly outside the body. So, yeah, not much.
Okay, and then Daniel Partita has a gearing question.
Okay.
He says, I have 37s, Mickey Thompson Baja Boss on fully built Dana 44s and 410 gears on the JKU. Thinking of re-gearing, would you recommend going 488 or 513? Asking about strength.
Okay. So, yeah, strength is definitely a concern because the pinion's getting pretty small. Ideally, I'd like to see you go 513, okay? But a lot of guys, that's really stretching it. If you have a 6-speed transmission, I'm going to lean you toward 513. If you're an automatic, 488 will get the job done.
Okay, and then another question. Mike Stewart asked, can you go over the pros and cons of bias and radials for daily and weekend use?
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a slide actually specifically that talks about construction, so I will.
We can get to that.
Yep,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, because you're just about to get to the bias fly tires
Yep.
anyways. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Good question, though.
Yeah,
Hank.
no,
Just
great
sit tight.
question.
Sit
Yes,
tight.
we'll get back to you on that one. Got a lot. I was originally going to do like 90 slides for this deal, but the boss told me to cut it down to whatever this is. So, but we got a lot of good stuff here. So, so going back to the lineup that we have. So the Baja Boss MT, kind of the same story there, right? With that tire, you're getting longer, deeper side biters, asymmetric pattern. So big chunky elements on the outside for stability. Twice as many inboard intermediate elements to help break up noise, provide additional biting edges, etc. PowerPly XD construction. Both of the Boss products, the Boss AT and the Boss MT, it's kind of a showcase of Mickey Thompson's latest, DOT on-road technology. And in fact, the Baja Boss XS that we just released last year, actually, that was earlier this year. That is actually the latest and greatest technology that we have for DOT off-road tires. So I guess that's a great segue into the extreme products. So going over to the extreme radials, we'll talk about those first. Little story behind the Baja Boss X. So back in 2019, Mickey Thompson decided, hey, we want to go Ultra 4 racing with Pellegrinos. So my previous manager, who is now our director of motorsports at Mickey Thompson, as well as his boss, engineers, compounders, manufacturing folks, all the stars aligned, and we were able to source some drag compound and make some Baja Boss MTs with sticky Mickey compound before anybody knew what Baja Boss X's were. And Mr. Pellegrino was Ultra 4 racing on some new sticky Mickeys. So. The Baja Boss X has evolved 4 times since we introduced it officially in 2020. 2020, it was the Baja Boss MT with a sticky compound on it. The next year, we added 4-ply construction. Okay, so and I'll get more into the constructions here in a bit. But basically, with our 3 plies and the 4 plies, we don't just do a straight radial construction, which is basically the plies taking the shortest path possible from one bead up the sidewall, over the tread, down the sidewall to the next bead. With PowerPly and PowerPly XD, we actually add a 3rd ply in there, and I'll get to that here in a minute. Helps with puncture resistance, quicker reaction steering inputs, stability. With the Boss X, that 2nd generation tire had a 4th ply. Okay, so bias, radial, bias. So even more durability. The next generation, we tweaked the compound a little bit more. The next generation after that, we tweaked the compound considerably, and we got feedback from everything from Jordan, other Ultra 4 teams, even what Cameron Harris as well with his.
Yeah.
He had experience with the 1st gen tire, and then tried the 3rd gen tire, and the feedback coming from both groups was very similar, right? Broader traction range. So better in cooler temperatures, warmer temperatures, certainly more durable, more cut and chip resistant, right? Those tires see a lot of abuse out there. So more durable, something you're not going to notice initially, but it's engineered to provide longer shelf life as well. So if you're not changing your tires out every 6 months or every race or whatever, you know, they're engineered to provide a little longer life for you too. So, but yeah, like I said, that tire, both the X and the XS products are kind of our showcase of our off-road technology. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff with those ones. And then,
Questions?
Yep.
Sure.
Any plans for Baja Boss MT in 38, 12.5, or 13.5, 17?
yeah, these are good ones. Yes, definitely looking at those sizes, working on some stuff.
You guys are asking the right guy. He's in
Okay.
charge of that.
And here's one. To put this to rest, can you talk about Mickey Thompson's and Cooper's manufactured at the same plant? They do have different compounds?
Yep, absolutely. I know the product managers very well with both Goodyear and Cooper, right? We're owned by Goodyear. We're all kind of one big happy family. What we'll do, a big part of our jobs is understanding who the consumer is, right? So we'll understand what their top benefits are, right? So for instance, a Baja Legend MTZ consumer may have different top needs than a Baja Boss MT consumer, right? So as funny as it may sound, a Baja Legend MTZ consumer may say, hey, I want this thing to be relatively quiet for a mud terrain, right? I want it to last long. I want it to ride nice. It's still got to have good off-road traction and be durable, but I want the most premium on-road experience I can get, right? Whereas maybe a Baja Boss MT consumer is just like, this thing has got to be a rock star in the rock, in the mud. It's got to clean out well. It's got to be very durable. And then also too, like for the show truck folks, show deep folks, aggressive looking as well, right? Same thing with Cooper and Goodyear, right? Their consumers are different than Mickey Thompson consumers. They can be. They can overlap too, certainly. But what we all try to do is optimize the product for our consumer, right? Mickey Thompson's a little different brand, right? If you go poll 50 people at Walmart, not everybody's going to know who Mickey Thompson is, right?
Yeah.
So we're very niche, we're very specialized, and we develop our products for those consumers that desire those products. So,
Yeah, the more
while-
avid enthusiast, right?
yeah, while
Yeah.
they may be manufactured in some of the shared plants, they can be very different, especially for the Boss products. Very unique.
Okay, Goose 4x4 says, I need that 38 by 13.5. Scott Reynolds asks, any time frame on the size question? I'm getting ready to redo my 04 LJ and want to run the 38s. And Two Feather Channel said, why no Baja Boss MT in 38 by 13.5 by 17?
Whew, so that's like the big size of the day so
Well,
far.
it's because the guys are pushing the limit. Normally, people would go to a 37, but they're wanting to cheat a little bit, but not go to a 40 and still run their Dana 44s.
Yep.
So I get it. You know, they're trying to, especially they're calculating. Okay, well, if I air down my 38, it's really a 37,
Yes.
right?
So without saying too much, we are absolutely looking at the 38s, Boss products. But I think we all know, you know, when we showed the 42s at SEMA, and then when we finally released them. So I'm going to be real careful on the timing, you know.
Right. You can just say yes, it's on your
Yeah,
radar.
it's on the radar.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, I can't do any more than that right
And then
now.
I got a couple of questions for Tony.
Sure.
Also. Hold on. Oh,
Feel free to ask some of Jordan too.
Keith Basham said, I just got back from Colorado doing a week of wheeling. I wore my GenRight sweatshirt you gave me at Brave Motorsports meet and greet. It
Nice.
was very comfortable and kept me warm on the cold mornings. Thanks.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
And
Wear it in good
Street
health.
Psychology 101 says, hey Tony, after recently doing the Black Hills takeover, is there a better MT for those conditions than the Baja Boss MT running a V8 98 TJ on 35s?
So the answer on that would be the X.
Okay.
That would be
Boss
the
X.
only better, because I was running the DOT version, right? So
Yep.
they would have to go to the sticky, for layman's terms, to just go to a sticky tire. Although I felt like mine did pretty good, you know, a sticky tire, I try and tell people, going to a sticky is like when you got lockers. All of a sudden, you just able to do everything you
just
want
open
to.
a bunch more
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah, you stick your line, you know, like I mean, you could speak to that too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's just amazing.
Yeah, line choice is obviously still very important, but if you manage to get offline a little bit, right, the tire is gonna hold you. It's not gonna you're gonna get a much different experience than running with a DOT, especially in optimal or non-optimal conditions. You know, the rock's a little dusty, it's dirty, it's wet. You know, there's all sorts of variables that a sticky will definitely help you through some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the other thing Jordan and I have found is, say for instance, the obstacle's just really challenging. If you just hammer the throttle and you wait till that tire goes black, you can just back up and drive right up it.
Yeah, you can
Like,
warm the tires up a little bit, clean the rock, clean the tire, and it'll go right.
And yeah, it's amazing. So.
And then Daniel had a follow-up question on the 488 gearing. He asked, you know, if the 4888 still has two teeth in contact with the ring and pinion?
On the 44, I think so. I think it does on the Dana 44. Yeah,
That's what
Okay, and
48s. Jordan's giving the nod on that. That's what he's running in his 44s, 488s.
Bob Becker asked, what's the longevity of the sticky?
Well, it depends on how
Depends on what
much
you do.
right foot you put in it, Bob. Actually, we've gotten, like Jamie's gotten more than one season out of his.
Yeah. He
just changed them.
Just changed his
Yeah.
tires.
So-
I think he was on those for a year and a half.
Yeah, and I know, yeah, it's right there. So he just put new tires on the Growler.
Good.
I know I've run them on Terramoto for a long time, and I don't typically replace them. I'll just keep running them. But we do usually put a fresh set on to go pre-run at King of the Hammers, and they get pretty beat.
So yeah, I mean, it also depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're driving on the street a lot, that's gonna change the time.
He wants no street driving. No street driving.
No street driving.
On the stickies.
But people do it, right?
They do.
Unfortunately,
He
I'm
doesn't
not
want to hear
you're not
that.
listening.
Yes.
I'm just saying. But yes, it you know, how much right foot you have, how much motor you have.
Yeah.
You know, Jamie with an LS in a heavy right foot is going to get significantly different tire wear than the guy with a bone stock inline 6.
Around here, Jamie's known as the monster truck driver.
He
Doesn't he
is.
even have a tattoo?
He does.
Yeah. So
Deborah Cornell says you guys can run up over your dad's Jeep.
yeah, that's right. There's a video of that. I just showed
Yep.
Ben. Yeah.
We got several questions.
More?
Of course.
Okay.
Bobby Cleveland says, hello from Oklahoma. My Curry 70 needs a new electric locker. What do you recommend?
Right now, what's readily available and working good is the Eaton e-locker. Otherwise, my personal favorite, the Eaton Detroit locker. So,
Okay, and let's see. BB Tom said, I've been a Mickey Thompson fan since I was a teenager. I was Keith Richards' babysitter.
Nice.
Nick Knoll said, make the Baja Boss MT a little easier to install on a beadlock.
ask
Yeah,
what
what
wheel
wheel?
is he running? Because the wheel makes a difference.
The wheel makes a
Let's see if he can reply with what wheel.
Okay, it's Harry RS says, I have Baja Boss AT on my F350, size 35, 12.5, 20. Great tires, but load range F. Do you have a lower load range in that size? When we purchased, I didn't see an E or a D available.
Everybody's on it, man. That's something we've been looking at is a reduced load 35, 12, 50, 20. One of the things we need to consider is, you know, what we need to pull out of the tire to get us that lower load, but still make the tire very durable and everything like that. So there's a lot of things to consider with that, but without a doubt, I mean, that's super popular size. And I mean, yeah, load range F it's overkill for half tons, mid-size vehicles, you know, et cetera. So something to consider.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know we use the full capability of our low range F with our gooseneck trailer and
He said
everything.
The wheel is a KMC Desert.
Okay, so KMC makes the wheel a little bigger. So one of the tricks, can you zoom in down here? One of the tricks, you need to trim off this flashing right here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
If you trim this flashing, then you'll be able to get the rim down on the bead
Yep.
down on the rim easier. Okay. How much can they trim that? Like this is sticking down like maybe a 1/8 inch.
that's one I can't answer right now. What would be good is if you want to send us an email into our tech department, what we can do is we can run it by engineering and see if we can come up with a response for that. That actually, I mean, if we could come up with something, that would be a cool tech bulletin.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for that. And something else to just, if anybody's ever curious too, about the bead thicknesses of Mickey Thompson tires, we have the thicknesses of every light truck and off-road tire readily available. So if somebody wants to call into our tech line or send an email, we can provide that bead thickness. And then obviously the wheel manufacturers, they have a certain amount of crush they want to see, and then their beads, you know, or the space between the ring and the wheel is a certain thickness once it's installed. So you can use that data to understand, like, okay, do I need to run a spacer or something different or whatever, right? So feel free to email us or give us a call at our tech line.
Yeah, Jordan and I have noticed by mounting a lot of beadlock wheels, like a race line, that is a little undersized, so that outside just drops on.
Yeah.
So KMC's one of the worst. Trail Ready somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, every wheel is going to mount different.
Yeah.
Every wheel is going to mount different.
So we've just learned, whether it's with a drum sander or a razor knife, just get in there and trim just the one that's going on that bead side. The other one, you want to go on there hard. That's what's keeping it from blowing the bead.
And soap and water,
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah.
huge when you're mounting. If you don't already know that.
Yeah.
And then Matt McDonough said, Tony, when will the Stage 1 JK videos drop? How did the Jeep do out at the Hammer?
It did good. In fact, we were checking it out
Yep.
a little while ago. Jamie was doing his first cut of all the footage. I know Jeff has some footage that he's going to start dropping in reels here pretty soon. I can tell you it was so fun that we lost a drone into a bush. It wouldn't be the first time that happened either. So yeah, no, it's awesome, and I'm already planning the next upgrades to go back out and test again. So definitely want to stay tuned. It's definitely going to be a hot product,
Okay.
and that's on the AT tires. So
Yep.
the Boss
Jeffrey
ATs.
Holland asked, why is the Boss sticky in X and the DOT is XS?
So this actually, that's a great segue into the extreme bias products, okay? So I'll give you a little history on the Baja Pro X and the Baja Pro XS. So years ago, I was talking to an engineer, no longer works with our company, but he's got a rock bouncer, an enthusiast, great guy. And I was wearing him out because he wasn't running our Baja Claws at the time on his bouncer. I was like, what's going on, dude? And he had no problem telling me why he wasn't running them. So he's just like, hey, check out the rock bouncer scene, you know, just you know, get out to some of these events, talk to some folks, just kind of understand this stuff. And when we did, we seen folks that were removing every other element to make them a little more voidier. There were some folks that were actually taking rubber out of the void area tire to lighten them up, to free them up, make them a little more flexible. A lot of great feedback talking to folks. And so we came back and we're like, okay, cool, we have an opportunity here to come out with something, basically an out-of-the-box rock bouncer tire, something for the market. So what we did was we literally brought a drag slick in from the warehouse, had it on a drag wheel. We bought like 10 pounds of modeling clay. And my boss at the time, he said, Ben, you use one side of your brain a lot. I want you to start using the other side of your brain. So it was like arts and crafts at the Mickey Thompson.
That's cool.
So we started just taking this clay and doing these different patterns. And we were thinking about, like, okay, a bouncer, they're not always going in a straight line. You know, I mean, they're getting tossed everywhere, reverse, you know, doing all this crazy stuff. So it's like, what if we did like an X pattern, right? Because it's kind of like an ag, but twice, right? Like an ag pattern. So anyway, we were playing with that, and we're like, okay, well, we got to come up with a name to get it in the system, get it going. So we're like, okay, cool, Baja Pro X, right? And then our idea wasn't the best idea in the world, and the designers who are really intelligent, they ended up evolving the pattern into what it is today, which probably is way more functional than our ridiculous X idea, but whatever. So that's the story behind the name Baja Pro X. And then the Baja Pro XS, the S is for street, just like with the Baja Boss XS. It's streetable. It's DOT approved. So it does carry DOT approval. And when we brought the Baja Pro X out at first, it's sticky. It's got 3 tread depths. It's super voidy. We don't want people driving on the highway. So there were folks asking like, hey, this is great, but can you come out with something that we can take the rig off the trailer, drive it through town, you know, whatever.
Like Moab.
Exactly.
Right.
Still something that's voidy, bias ply, big knobby, side biters, still functional but DOT approved. So then we brought out the Baja Pro XS. So that's the story behind the X. And then we just carried that over to the Boss stuff. So it makes absolutely no sense for the Boss other than the X is the stickies, XS is the DOT off-road.
I just figured the X was for the extreme.
Yeah.
That
I
was
like that
kind of
too.
what I assumed.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah.
That's actually that's better. That's
That's easier to explain.
I'm going to use that from now
Yeah,
on
there
in
you
my
go.
ridiculous drawn-out story.
Oh,
So,
that's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
Question for Tony.
Yeah.
Mike Moore says, trying to get this answered. I need brackets for my hydro steer, my Pro Rock 44, and your Stage 1 Elite steering with reeds. Getting close to install date for the high steer and need brackets first.
Yes. We just got the new fabricated diff covers in that we're designing the brackets to go on. So we'll be able to give you a diff cover and the brackets. We're really close on that. By the way, me taking the Jeep out and running it escalated the importance of that as well. So, yeah, you're definitely beyond on the radar. You're on deck.
Okay, and then Goose 4x4 says, hearing from friends in the industry, the Baja Boss 40-inch tire weighs less than a popular competitor tire. Are there any compromises with the Baja Boss 40-inch being a lighter tire?
So when we're developing our off-road tires, some manufacturers, first thing they may do is go cut up the competitors' tires, check them out, try to reverse engineer them. I'm not saying anybody does that, but they
It
might,
happens.
right?
Right.
Mickey Thompson, he was a builder, he was a driver, he was a promoter, he was an innovator. Indy, land speed, drag racing, off-road, and it wasn't just about winning. It was about developing these products that are truly unique. Everything he did, building Indy cars and slingshot dragsters and all these products that he engineered over time, vastly different from what anybody else had out there because he saw an opportunity to lead and innovate. And that's what we do with our products. Find another tire that's got the construction the way that we do the Boss, asymmetric pattern. I mean, just there's a lot of unique things about our products where we understand that with a product like that, durability, traction, lightweight is extremely important, right? So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for.
Well, I
but
want to answer this a little bit.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so one of the reasons that Jordan and I gravitated toward Mickey Thompson was because Mickey Thompson was interested in making a tire for Jeeps. Okay, these other companies offer a truck tire for Jeeps. And that's where you're not seeing the C load rating, right? You go get a Toyo, man, that thing is so thick. And anybody I know that drives by Braille, I tell them to get a Toyo. Because if they don't stick their head out and look where they're going, like they need something that's bulletproof, right? Now, since they came out with the X,
Yeah.
like that's a thicker 4-ply.
Yeah.
So that was the next generation of the Boss MT. And if you're that kind of guy now, they've got a tire for you. So if you compare the weight of the XS to the regular Boss MT, you'll see that it's a heavier tire. And it might be more toward what you're wanting. Now, I like the thinner 3-ply, and we just posted some videos this week where you can see my tires like biting and wrinkling as I'm going up the rock. I want the tire to like suck up over the rocks. And that's where you're getting the best bite. You get the stiffer sidewall tire, and it's not going to do that. It's going to sit on top. So you just kind of got to decide, some guys, they want to bounce through like a ping pong ball, and that's not me. So it just depends on the kind of wheeling you do. I mean, you can chime in on that.
Yeah, just the vehicle, your driving style, what you're looking for out of the tire. I think all plays a very big role in which tire you pick or which version of the tire you pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about putting the right materials, selecting the right materials, using them the best way you can, and then putting everything in the right spot, right? If I see punctures on Ultra 4 race cars, I mean, shoot, I think, I don't know, probably 95% of the time it's in the sidewall, not the tread, right? Similar case with the bouncers, right? A lot of, if they get impacts in the sidewall. So in the case of the Baja Pro X, it actually has a 2-ply nylon bias ply construction on it, right? It's a very heavy duty, 2-ply bias ply nylon construction. But there is a significant amount of reinforcement in the sidewalls that make those things more durable. But we wanted to keep the thing lighter weight. We wanted to give the tread a little more freedom for flex, right? Same thing in the buttress areas, the side biter area of the tire. You can see it's got the dual decoupling grooves and allows it to flex a little more, so it's not like a brick. You know, just using those materials wisely can help keep the weight down.
And, okay, Bill Walton asked, can I run the 43, 14, 50, 17 Baja Pro X on 9-inch rim?
9?
Believe it's 9.5, but in beadlocks, so that's one thing I'm not super familiar with beadlocks, but do they usually end up being?
It ends up a little over a
Yeah,
9.
yeah.
Yeah, and I prefer an 8.5. I want that because I want the side to bulge.
No, so
You know?
so the and that was Baja Pro X.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one is actually approved for 8.5 to 11-inch rims. So 8.5,
Yeah, fine.
9. If you got 9.5-inch beadlocks.
Okay. Gary Vickers said, I'm getting ready to buy a set of 40-inch stickies just for the trail. How do your sidewalls compare to red labels, and what else sets yours apart?
So I'm not going to speak to the competitors' products, but in a minute here I will get to the construction of these products and kind of let you know what kind of technology we have in them. As far as the 40-inch Boss X goes, like I said, it's a 4-ply construction. It's not all radial. It's a hybrid between bias and radial, so you get some of the benefits of a bias, some of the benefits of a radial. And with, I'll just go ahead and jump ahead here. So actually, let me cruise out front here.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I can illustrate this a little better. So the way that PowerPly XD, and even the 4-plies are engineered is so that if you take an impact to the sidewall with a standard radial tire, the radial plies, like I said, they're laid like this, right? They start at the bead, they go up the sidewall, over the tread, down the sidewall, back to the next bead, right? You take an impact to the sidewall, it's going to affect those plies in that path, right? When you have a bias angle ply laid in there, it's going to help spread that force to a wider area, lessen the likelihood of a puncture, okay? With the Boss X40, the Boss XS as well, now you're introducing a 4th ply that's also bias, so that's going to further help strengthen that area of the tire. Also, too, with the latest generation of the Boss X and the Boss XSs, in addition to that 3rd ply or that 4th ply, we also had an additional rubber gauge to the mid-lower sidewall as well. So that's going to help with the it's rubber thickness. It's going to help with the puncture resistance as well. So,
Yeah, your tech term.
yes.
Jeep Psychology 101 says,
Yeah.
my TJ is considerably lighter than the Terremoto Jeep. Would some grooving or sipping help with the lateral slip of the Baja Boss MT DOTs? Grooving or sipping help
Well,
with
there's
the
some
lateral
siping
slip?
in there.
So what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Would some grooving or siping help with the lateral slip of the Baja Boss MT DOTs?
The only thing.
On a TJ.
So with the Baja Boss MT pattern, originally we were actually looking at adding some additional siping to the tire. As you can see with the Baja Boss MT, the X and the XS, this inboard intermediate strip, the lugs are already getting pretty small. So if you add more siping to those,
They start chunking.
you could have that, and then also too, it may not be as stable on the rocks either, because now you have all these little. It's still a big element, but now it's all siped up, so it has it's probably
more
not going
wiggle room,
to
yeah.
more wiggle too. Yeah, so I mean, there's folks that certainly customize, groove the tires the way they
Gunner's
like.
watching.
All right,
So,
Gunner.
Hi, Gunner.
but it's, I mean, it's competition proven the way.
Yep.
And you and I have done some crazy off-camber
Yeah,
stuff behind the rocks out in Moab where we drove and the tire just tracked perfect.
yep.
So, some of that might be the suspension if the thing's really crab walking, maybe, and I don't know what pressure. I'm typically running like 8 pounds, so.
So here's what you do: you buy a few sets of them, and then try out the different sets and see which one you like the best.
Type 1 set.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of people are saying how much they love their Baja Boss.
There you go.
Awesome, thank you.
Including me.
Good to go.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Okay,
Because
cool.
we've been stuck on this one for a while.
Yep. So this one here is kind of a boring slide, but at a high level, when we're talking about Mickey Thompson products, we like to talk about the tread, the compound, and the construction. These are things that not only, components of these things not only provide the performance that we're looking to get out of these tires, but they are items that set our products apart from competitors, right? I've already kind of spoken about a few, but first one, side biters. This image here on the left is it's from the 70s. 1977, Mickey Thompson came out with side biters as we know them today. As you can see here in this image, the side biters aren't, it's just not for looks, right? It's not just a looks thing. There's a lot of technology behind the designs of these side biters. In the case of the Baja Belted, that tire was designed to have great flotation, but also traction as well as protection. And there's a lot of neat elements to design. Same with this picture of this Baja Pro XS you can see here on the screen. Angled shoulder scallops help guide a mud, loose material into the adjacent lug to give you that big face for traction. You can see that there's what we call mud scoops in some of these protruding elements of the side biters. The idea there, the way they're engineered, is so that if you get mud caked on those, that actually would create an air pocket to keep mud from clinging to it. So it helps with the evacuation of stuff out of your pattern to keep it clean, to keep it biting. Dual decoupling grooves provides additional flex. Variable length and depth side biters, you can see there the elements are popping in and out to give you additional biting faces for certain conditions. So again, a lot of technology in our side biters. And speaking of them, looking at the core 4 products as well as the 4 extreme products, you can see that there is not only differentiation of the design of the side biters, but also with the depth as well. So the Baja Legend EXP, same side biter depth that we had on the old Baja ATZ P3, it's what we call our standard side biters. You move into the Baja Legend MTZ, so you're going from an AT hybrid into a mud terrain. The side biters can be up to 75% deeper. You go into the Boss AT, Boss MT, Boss XS, Boss X, you're getting 150% deeper side biters with that tire. And then of course with the Baja Pro XS and the Baja Pro X Monsters, you're getting 350% deeper side biters. So, you know, not necessarily developed or engineered for the same applications. A lot of these products are purpose-built, right? You know, Baja Boss XS, very appropriate for an Everyman Challenge race car. Boss X, great for Ultra 4, you know, even a recreational rock crawler. You know, certainly folks have run Baja Pro X's and XS's on just rock crawlers. I'm sure they work fine. But it, you know, kind of engineered for more of that extreme rock bouncer, you know. So they're all kind of purpose built in their own way. But that's talking about the side biters. And then moving over to the tread, you'll notice looking at the Boss AT, Boss MT, the XS and the X, they have asymmetric tread patterns, so they're not directional. Okay, you have these big chunky elements on the outside for stability. So picture you're driving down the road or you're shooting across the desert doing 80 miles an hour or whatever you're doing. You make a hard right. The portion of the tire that's going to take the burden of that force is going to be your outboard left tire, right? So you want these big chunky elements out there for stability. Same case with like our Street Comp UHP tire. You have these massive elements that are very stable, okay? You put little tiny elements out there, it's going to be squirmy, it's not going to be as ideal. When you move to the inboard intermediate strip, you actually get twice as many elements that helps break up noise, provides additional biting edges. You know, it helps provide a more premium on-road experience. Also, in the case of the Boss AT, it can certainly contribute to the great winter performance of the product. Of course, that's also siping, compounding, tread arrangement, etc. But again, something a little different that Mickey Thompson does. Moving to compounds. So you can see here that with these same 8 products, we have multiple compounds depending on which product you're looking at. The Baja Boss MT, or Boss MT, Baja Legend MTZ, and then Baja Legend EXP have the tried and true T4 compound. Silica reinforced tread capstock. Silica is a major rarity among mud terrains, the ones that we've done tread recons of during development. We don't see it used very often. It's a huge contributor with those products to wet handling, wet braking, cut and chip durability, as well as tread life. When you look at the Boss AT, we were really going after all-weather traction with that tire. We wanted that thing to be a beast in the snow. and sizes 12, 15 and over have 3 peak mountain snowflake certification. And the compound's a little different with those products, as well as the pattern, the siping, etc. Siping, there's a lot of siping in the Boss AT. You know, it leads off the edge. The increased tread pitch count, the asymmetric pattern, all these things contribute to that thing being such a strong performer in the snow. The Boss X now is on to the X3 compound. Like I said, that's gone through an evolution. It's had 4 generations and 3 compounds since we brought it out in 2020. T5 is what we use on the Baja Pro XS. I would not call it a sticky compound, but it is certainly grippy. And then the X1 is what we use on the Baja Pro X tire.
Josh says I'm ready to test some of these out on the CJ.
Nice. All right, here's the real meat of it.
Okay.
Right?
So this is kind of what I was probably poorly trying to illustrate with my fist on this tire earlier, but so power ply, right? That's another thing that separates Mickey Thompson from a lot of our competitors is you'll have 2 plies that take the shortest path possible, bead to bead. The 3rd ply is laid on a bias angle, and like I said, what that's going to do is help spread impact forces to a wider area, lessen the likelihood of a puncture. It's also going to help tighten up the carcass, so it's going to react quicker to steering inputs and stabilize quicker. So it's not just a benefit for off-roading, it's a benefit for on-road use as well, right? The Boss AT light truck sizes and Boss MT take that to the next level. What we do with that 3rd ply is we add 50% heavier denier cord. Denier, it's measured in weight, not in like gauge or thickness, but it is thicker cord. But it does make the tire more puncture resistant. And then, of course, with the X40 and then the XS, we're introducing a 4th ply that's bias angled, along with additional rubber gauge in the sidewall. And then the Baja Pro XS and the X bias ply constructions, right? So going back to that question from 20 minutes, half an hour ago, sorry, but the bias versus radial, right? So in the case of, think of a drag tire, right? You've got a clutch car that's you got a sticky drag strip. You got this car making a bunch of power, and you got a clutch, and it's sticky tire, and you let that thing out right now. You need that tire to be able to take some shock, right? With a bias ply tire, the way that the plies are laid is they are laid in an X pattern going across the tread of the tire, and as they go down the sidewalls, they go down at an angle. So those plies are very, very long and very elastic, right? So that allows for a lot of flex, right? May not be the most optimum for handling or for ride necessarily. You just don't see bias ply tires in OE applications these days. Radial is very appropriate for the Boss X, XS. We do introduce a little bit of bias technology, but it's still truly a radial tire, whereas the Pro X and the Pro XS are bias. There's a lot of material in there. It does allow the tire to flex a lot. Those rock monsters are very, very heavy. They're making a boatload of power, and they're abusing those things when they're using them. So it does help to have a tire that is very flexible, and that's important for the Pro X and also the Pro XS as well.
Keith Basham says, I currently have Baja MTZ M&S 33 by 12.5 15s on a YJ, mostly street, a little off-road too. They've been good, but getting worn down. What tire would you recommend? The same or something else? Thanks.
How are they being used again?
Mostly street, little off-road too.
What kind of off-road? Like muddy stuff, or just like going camping, fishing, or like they doing rock crawling?
Yeah.
Laura says, I love the technology and engineering and tires. Definitely a geek out topic.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge geek.
I
so.
mean, the fact that you can lower the tire pressure and go crawling and then air them right back up and hop on the freeway is amazing. Yeah. It really is.
The MTZs, I mean, it's a great tire. It's a mud terrain, so on road, I would not expect it to last as long as a Baja Boss AT or a Baja Legend EXP. But in its category, it's proven itself as a longer lasting product. If you're on road, you run an inflation pressure that'll maintain the OE vehicle's load. You keep it aligned, you run good steering parts of the thing, good suspension parts in it, and you rotate the tires every 6,000 miles. You should get really good life out of the MTZs. So if you dig them, I'd stay on them. Boss AT, EXP, you are going to get more life. You're going to lose some of your void. So depending on what you're doing off-road,
or that look that you
It
want.
says mudding and rock crawling.
Muddy and
Okay.
rock crawling. Okay, I mean the MTZ it is a good tire, and it has evolved since we brought it out. Like in 2000, we brought out the very first MTZ in I think it was 2005, and it has evolved since then. It's been optimized to help with wear and noise and a bunch of other things. But it's a proven tire. The thing just it works. So, that's a tough one.
Okay, and Chris Warden says on my TJ I have Dirty Life 4.5-inch backspace bead locks. The 42-inch Baja Box MT works great. I mounted the 43-inch Pro X and had some control arm rubbing to be expected. Looking for a 2-inch backspace for the Pro X tires. Any recommendations?
Sounds like we need to come out with some Mickey Thompson beadlock wheels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blake.
Yeah.
I'd check, race line if you need something immediately.
Okay.
Okay.
Continue.
All right. Did we finish our?
Yeah, we are done with my slides here.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and we have 10 minutes left. So let's get some more questions coming in for any of us and talk about, whatever's on your mind and more about tires. And, some of the things that I was asking them about was tire pressure. And why don't you speak to that for a
Yeah.
second?
So if it doesn't matter if you've got a Mustang with aftermarket street comps on it, or if you got a pickup truck or a Jeep or whatever, our tech department, we take calls probably 15, 20 times a day, where it'll be a shop or an end consumer, and they're curious what pressure to run in the tire, rightfully so, right? Let's say you have a Rubicon that's got an OE LT255 7517 on it that says 37 PSI on the placard. You go put a set of 42s on there, 37 may not be what you want to run, right? So light truck tires, Mickey Thompson light truck and P-metric tires are based on the Tire Room Association handbook. It's updated annually, and it's full of these charts that tells us, like, okay, at this pressure, this tire is going to carry this much load. So what our tech support team can do is, if you give them your factory size that's listed on your placard, your factory front and rear pressure that's listed on your placard sticker, and then your new size, they can use the charts in that handbook to ensure that you're running a pressure in your new tire that will not be overloaded or have just excessive pressure on it to cause the tire to wear out in the center or whatever, right? So that's really important for on-road use. Obviously, off-road, you want to run a pressure where you have a great balance of, optimum traction and also ground clearance too. And Tony and Jordan, I don't know if you guys have any tips from your wheeling, but as far as pressures go, off-road.
Mine's very unique. Right?
Yeah.
Mine is very unique.
There's a bunch of Lamborghinis out there.
Right.
Well, and obviously that's why you're running a sticky tire,
And that's
right?
why I'm right. So
you can
in,
run the higher tire pressure.
in Ultra 4, it's a totally different
It
world.
is.
So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But just so you understand what we have to do with the Ultra 4 car, that car, we are generally running between 20 and 30 PSI. The only reason we are able to do that is because we're running the sticky. That plays a huge role in being able to run Hammers trails as fast or significantly faster in most cases than a built Jeep could run them on a comparable tire, right? But we need to be able to do that without killing tires. We need to be able to do that without getting a flat.
You don't need to free up the carcass as much. You got the tread working for you.
Exactly. The tread is doing all of the work. You don't get the tire wrap like you were talking about with a super aired down sticky, right?
Right.
So we have to rely on the tread doing 99% of the work in most cases, and it works out. We didn't get a single flat during Hammers this year, and we were doing things that deserved flats all day long. So. I mean, the work, the engineering, and everything you guys have put into those tires has more than paid off.
Right on.
Yeah, even when I raced Terremoto in King of the Hammers, I was still running 15 cold, 18 hot, and I would have preferred to run less, but you're hitting stuff hard that you can't see, so you got to have more pressure. Now, out playing around, having fun, yeah, I want to be down at 8 pounds, and I want a nice squish. I want to, we've talked about it. We've talked about it before, where every time you air down, you're like doubling the patch, right? So you can get a huge patch on the ground at 8 pounds, and that's what we're going for. When you've got low range transfer cases, low axle gears, a lot of torque, you want traction, and you want to be able to either slowly spin that tire or not spin it at all. Because if you start to spin it, that's when it starts to hop, and then you're going to break something. So you're trying to find that balance, and as well as height, right? So one of the reasons that I've always wanted to run a bigger tire is by the time you're aired down, you don't want to be dragging that differential through anything. So yeah, it's a fine balance.
It's all very it's all very relative
Yeah.
to you, your vehicle, your
Yep.
driving style, everything.
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to show the Mickey Thompson wheels next to Tony?
Oh,
Wait a second. Ah, okay.
we
so-
did want to give people a sneak
Hey,
peek.
what do we got over here? Okay, so
And we do have a few more questions.
Okay, well we'll show the wheels and then we'll get back to questions.
if you cannot be at the SEMA show this year, definitely follow GenRight's social as well as Mickey Thompson as well, because we're going to be introducing 8 new wheel styles.
Nice.
We have 4 here to show you today. So this is the first of which. This is the Canyon. You can see it's a throwback style, kind of little similar to our old Challenger wheel that we had, cast aluminum wheel. Multiple bolt patterns and sizes available for this thing. For the JKs and JLs, we're going to have 17 by 9s. For the YJs, TJs, 15 by 8s, 15 by 10s, a little deeper dish, 15 by 12s, nice deep dish, and then 16 by 8. Of course, that's with 5-on-5 with the JKs, JLs, and then the 5-on-4.5 with the YJs and TJs. And then for CJs, we'll have 15 by 8s. The hub bore is plenty big enough. Blake has verified that. 15 by 10s, 15 by 12s, 16 by 8s, 17 by 9s. I think, my opinion, on a YJ, a TJ, CJ, nice set of raised white letter MTZs on these bad boys
Look at
would look.
Yeah, they
Nice.
come polished like that. I mean, it's a beautiful looking wheel.
Yeah, the windows look just as nice as the rest of the wheel. I mean, everything is polished really brilliantly. It looks sharp. Awesome wheel. So we're excited to get this one out. And then Tony,
Let's show them some other ones.
I think we might have a few more over there.
Let's open them up. Check this out, Jordan.
So it's probably Jeff doing a drive-by.
Hey, okay, so this one that Jordan's got here is the Canyon Pro Rons. So for the JKs and JLs with the 5-on-5, we're going to have this in 17 by 9, 18 by 9, and then 20 by 9 for you that want to run some dubs.
There you go.
And these are simulated bead locks.
Simulated bead
These
lock,
are
that
not
is
actual
correct.
bead locks.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So then this wheel here is this is the Classic Pro Polish. So it'll look somewhat similar to our Classic 3 that we have, but it does have the faux bead lock on it as well. And the zinc hardware looks really, really sharp, authentic. You can see we have the opening here by the valve stem hole, so that the valve stem isn't pushed up against this faux bead lock. You can see really, really brilliant finish on that thing. For the JKs and JLs, this will be available
That
in
and a bead lock.
I know. It's a good looking wheel.
17 by 9, 18 by 9, and 20 by 9 for JKs and JLs. So the 17 and 18, for those with the 5-on-5 is going to be a negative 12 offset. For the 20s, it's going to be a 0 offset. And I've never seen a CJ on dubs before, but for that bolt pattern, we're going to have 17 by 9s, 18 by 9s, and 20 by 9s. So for the old CJ, so that's kind of a classic.
Which is the
wheel for those.
5-on-5.5.
Yep.
bolt pattern.
Yep.
So no real bead locks yet?
Guess you either got to go to SEMA show or
Again,
follow our social
this
media.
is a sneak peek. These are supposed to be available October 1st, but in November they're actually officially.
That's gonna be like the
launching.
media consumer
Yeah.
launch, the big, where we're really gonna show everything off. So this last one is the Open 5, JKJL Gladiator 5-on-5, 17 by 9, 18 by 9, 20 by 9, And then for the CJs, also 17 by 9, 18 by 9, 20 by 9. So just some different styles here to complement what we already have today, the Classic 3, Classic 3 Black, as well as the side biter. So more wheels to come from Mickey Thompson. This is just the beginning. So
That's why it
like
says
it.
Mickey Thompson Tires and Wheels.
that's right.
Yes.
Right.
So-
Okay. Couple questions.
Sure.
Matt McDonough says, Tony Jordan, I installed my RCVs on my Pro Rock 44. I have a lot of grease on the ball outside of the cup. Did I over service it? How can I get the grease just right?
That can be a common thing. The trick is you get it's called a banding tool. Get a banding tool, and then I don't know who sells them. I think probably CarTech or someone sells them. You can put it looks like a massive oversized stainless steel zip tie. You get the banding tool, you tie up the cup a little bit on the very outside edge. What you're seeing is when you steer, right, the grease is moving around inside the ball, and leftover grease stays on the ball. It doesn't come back with the cup. It doesn't always wipe all of the grease. So you just get some excess grease over time. Wrapping that up with a banding tool will help you out for sure.
Not the end of the world. That is
No,
a
it's
little
not the
bit
end.
normal.
It's not a problem if you can live with it. Just wipe them off every once in a while.
It'll
But
find its happy place.
if it just bothers you and that's it,
Yeah.
you can band it up.
Okay. And Rick Turner said, old school way to determine tire pressure for your vehicle and your tires would be to chalk them, right?
No.
No.
Nope.
No. But you want them to call in.
Yeah, and we also have this. We have this manual that's put out by the same body. It's called the Old Timers Manual, but it has basically the pressures for vehicles dating back to the, it's 50s or 60s or something like that, right? So we have some older data, and also too. I mean, and Tony and I were actually talking about this too, and I think this is something that's worth thinking about. But like, you think of these applications that have like tons on them and aftermarket GenRight frames and all this stuff, right? There's very little about that vehicle that's based on that vehicle placard that Chrysler put out.
They're
So
1,000 pounds heavier.
yeah, so it's like, do you want to go off of the axle capacity with tons? Probably not. I don't think that vehicle is always going to have that much. It's not going to have that much load on it. So that's something interesting to consider, for a more heavily modified application. And I believe there may actually be some tools out there. I've talked to actually people at SEMA that have come by that have all these awesome gadgets. And, there may be something out there. Honestly, that's something that I probably, Mickey Thompson needs to scope out a little bit and understand a little better to kind of help people out.
Okay,
Yeah.
Steve Bird says, who's in Michigan, come to the GenRight Mickey Thompson 4x4 night and register to win a free set of tires.
There you go.
Ooh.
There you go.
Okay, Travers Enslow says, I spoke to a person at Mickey Thompson booth in Moab about what I should replace my MT Dagon and got such good help and advice. I've been a fan ever since.
Awesome.
Mickey Thompson's on my LJ and Raptor and love them.
Love it. Awesome.
Good to know.
That's nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about was most Jeep guys also have a truck to tow their Jeep with.
Yeah.
So the AT tire is what all of us are running
Yep.
on our trucks. Is a great 50,000 mile tire, So
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, hey, Mike Milner has a follow-up question about the brackets.
Sure.
He said, how close is close on the brackets? My install is set for first week of October. Can I safely say I'll have brackets by then?
Probably, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
how close is close?
Close is like we'll be laser cutting them the last week of September. So yeah, he's probably in good shape.
Okay.
Yep.
What about chalk to test for tire pressures and see where you're sitting? Separate question.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything scientific to back up to validate that any kind of a chalk method is appropriate. I mean, yeah, you're I guess kind of looking at your contact patch, but that doesn't tell you if you're overloading your tire potentially or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's honestly for a more heavily modified application, that's something I don't know. But if your vehicle is fairly stock, the placards, it's something good to go off of. It's something.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any rule of thumb like I've added 1,000 pounds? That means I should go up 5 pounds, like.
Well, so be careful here. So
I know, you have to be careful.
yeah. So the OE manufacturers are developing these vehicles to carry a certain load, right? They're considering that it's just you in the driver's seat, or they're considering you got X passengers inside with you, with a bed loaded to this, with this much weight on the on your trailer or whatever, and here's a pressure that you can run with this or that, and it's going to work fine for you, right? So that's basically what we go off as to make sure people do that. But that's a
tricky.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the other way that I would think about it, just on my own vehicle, is I'm not going to put 37 pounds in a beadlock wheel.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the other side of it is maybe I'd go to 32 pounds, but I'm typically more of a 28 to 30 guy. So just something else for reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blake Warner says, Benny.
Hi, Blake.
Hi, Benny.
How did I do?
Hopefully Blake's house is doing okay.
Yeah, hopefully.
He's close to the fires.
Uh-oh.
So.
Summer Ann says, there's so many things out there and tons of variables. Great info. Thanks, Mickey Thompson, for all of it.
Awesome. Right on.
Mike Mowers said, thanks, Tony. Do I call to order the brackets?
Yes, yeah, call in, talk to one of the guys, tell them that you want to be first on the list, give them your name, phone number, email, and that what I'll do is I'll create a part number and they can get the order in the system.
Pay Dirt asks, RV tires, trailer tires?
I do not have ST tires for trailers, and I do not have like 19.5s or anything like that.
Is that anywhere on Mickey Thompson's radar?
So that is something I'd probably look to Goodyear and or Cooper. That is outside of my scope of knowledge, though. I haven't dabbled in
understanding your
that market,
market,
but yeah,
right?
yeah.
That goes back to what you were saying earlier.
Absolutely, but yeah, that's something I'm not familiar with. Sorry.
Yeah. I saw him eyeballing the tires on my RV. They're
Taking
big.
notes.
They're big. They're like 40s or 42s. They're big.
A lot of people are just thanking you guys for all the great info.
Awesome. Right on.
Yes.
Well, it's a pleasure to have him all the way here. He came in today from Ohio.
Yep.
And to get him here in California to be on the show, just to talk to you guys. So I'm glad we got so many questions, and hopefully everybody has a better understanding of the whole Mickey Thompson tire line.
Yep.
And like he said, if you have additional questions, you can call into their tech line.
Yep.
So, including the tire pressure stuff.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday. And meantime, get out there and do some wheeling and break some stuff so I can stay in business. All right, everybody. Thanks.
Take care.